I'm Christine Lisi. There was no inaccurate information about Chiefs receiver Kadarius Toney for the AFC Championship game, according to Coach Andy Reid. Said he was ruled out because of his hip and personal reasons, but Toney did go on an expletive-laden tirade on social media yesterday where he appeared to accuse the team of lying. Reid said there was nothing made up on the injury report. Kansas City returns to practice for Super Bowl LVIII against the 49ers on Thursday. NBA, there is optimism. Knicks forward Julius Randle will be out weeks, not months, with a dislocated shoulder. Even so, New York might want to make a call to Toronto ahead of the trade deadline, suggests ESPN NBA reporter Brian Windhorst.
Bruce Brown Jr. plays multiple positions. He's got championship DNA, championship experience, plays hard-nosed defense, is a Tibbs type of player. The Knicks have 8 tradable first-round picks and an expiring contract in Evan Fournier, who they could maybe negotiate with there. I wouldn't say they have to make a deal, but I would absolutely think that they would investigate the market.
Tonight in Denver, Doc Rivers makes his Bucs coaching debut against the Nuggets.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, I'll tell you which quarterbacks have raised their stock the most in the playoffs. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
Chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a ton to do today. Super Bowl 58 is set. Michael Thomas is taking shots at Derek Carr. Austin Thomas is back at LSU. We got a Tiger Girl and an LSU cheerleader, part of the G team, in studio later today. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, Super Bowl 58 is set, and we'll get to that here in about 15 minutes. But everybody everywhere is talking about Super Bowl 58. Maybe by not starting there, I am burying the lead. But what I'm going to do is actually talk about something local here to start that I think has great significance. Over the weekend, LSU had a big recruiting event out on campus, and part of this weekend, LSU landed another commitment for the class of 2025. It's 4-star cornerback Jabari Antoine. And there are a lot of layers to this, which are very significant. So I'll give you the little bit of Cliff's Notes backstory thumbnail here on Antoine. So he's a cornerback out of Westgate in New Iberia for the class of 2025. He is the number 47 overall player in the country. According to ESPN, On3 has him even higher as the third best cornerback in all of college football, in all of the class of 2025. So this is a really significant national recruit that LSU has landed here for the class of 2025. And he also happens to be a really significant national recruit for the class of 2025 from the state of Louisiana. To give you a little bit more of the background here on Antoine, again, out of Westgate, 6'1", 170. I mentioned On3 ranks him as the 19th overall player in the country, any position. Number 19 overall. In the composite, he's the 45th overall player. So that's when you combine all of the rankings, services, right? The number 45 overall player, the 7th best cornerback, and the number 2 player in the state of Louisiana for the class of 2025. Obviously, number 1, great player in Louisiana, one of the top players in Louisiana. You had to land him. You've got him committed. Number two, your secondary, in particular cornerback, was a glaring weakness this year. We all know that. So you get a player of need in Louisiana, position of need, committed for the class of 2025. And maybe the most significant part of this, after Antoine committed over the weekend, he gave an interview to a lot of different recruiting services, but this one in particular was with ESPN. And he said, this is Jabari Antoine after he committed. And I'm reading, this is 2 lines directly from this ESPN article. Antoine said it was the return of defensive backs coach Corey Raymond to LSU after a year at Florida, it was actually 2, that helped push things over the top for him. Quote, Raymond said he really wanted to lock up opposing wide receivers, so I know with everybody in that LSU building, I would fit in the scheme great. There's a lot to react to here. But, and I'm going to talk about each layer of it, but I want to start with the Corey Raymond piece of it. Because we talked for weeks and weeks and weeks about this, about Corey Raymond coming back, and the ideal reason why Corey Raymond was coming back to LSU was this. For a decade, you had a conveyor belt of talent just rolling through LSU's secondary, and he was the guy getting it here. And despite the fact that there was this somehow nonsensical argument or thought out there that Corey stopped recruiting or lost his fastball and couldn't coach anymore, like, as absurd as that was, I tried to point it out, you're already seeing dividends of the move. Here you have a top 50 overall player in the country from Louisiana for the class of 25, a cornerback who said the thing that pushed it over the edge was Corey Raymond coming back. Intellectually, you know that. You know that to be true. I've gone through all the numbers, the All-Americans, the first-round draft picks, the cornerbacks in the pros, but you all know it. And they all came to play for him. The one guy in Louisiana that you wanted for the class of 2024 that you didn't get was Wardell Mack, a cornerback out of New Orleans who committed to him at Florida. When he got fired at Florida, Wardell Mack decommitted and then went to Texas. So, yes, for so many reasons, bringing Corey Raymond back was significant. You also have a very motivated Corey Raymond now as well. And I don't know if I told you this story here. I know I've told it in other places, but after the news about Corey rejoining staff broke, that was like a Thursday. The next day was a Friday morning. I remember it. And I bumped into a staff member, not an on-field coach, but a staff member. And I bumped into a staff member, said, hey, it's got to be good having Corey back, yada, yada. Just, small talk. And this person told me it's like he never left. Him and Frank Wilson were at Football Ops last night at 9 p.m. calling recruits. I mean, you want to talk about a dude that is motivated because he's back where he felt he never should have left, but it's his alma mater. He loves it. He's where he wants to be. You have an even more motivated Corey Raymond than you would have before. So that's one big part of this. It's already the first big score for Corey Raymond. Hasn't even been a month, and it's been a couple of weeks. I also think I think this kind of goes without saying, but the future is right at LSU. You've polished off the number 7 class in the country here for 2024. And I'll tell you, they're still not done. I mean, they're going to sign Bryce Underwood next week. Excuse me. Not Bryce Underwood. They're going to sign, who am I thinking? The defensive tackle out of Acadiana. I'm blanking.
Dominic McKinley.
McKinley, thank you. My brain was on 25. They're going to sign Dominic McKinley, and they still have a hat on the table for Terry Bussey, and we'll see. But they're not done in the portal either. I'll tell you, LSU had made significant NIL offers to Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, and Brian Thomas, all to return. We know they all went pro. Well, all of those NIL funds that were going to be allocated for those 3 guys are available, and you better believe LSU is going to be a buyer in the next portal cycle. So this roster for 24 isn't done, but the class for 24 as of now is 7th in the country. When you look ahead to 2025, now you add Jabari Antoine. They're the number 1 class in the country for 25, and we know the names, right? Bryce Underwood, the number 1 player in the country, number 1 quarterback. DeCorian Moore, 5-star, number 1 receiver. Harlem Berry, 5-star, number 1 running back in the country. Jabari Antoine, who I just told you, 247, I'm sorry, on 3 has him as the 19th overall player in the country, but in the composite, he's the 47th best player in the country. He's the 4th best player in this class, which goes to show you. That's not even counting guys like Keelan Moses, J.D. LaFleur, Brett Bordelon, Teron Francis, Jalen Bell. I mean, it's the number 1 class in the country for 25. And then we've talked about 26 as well in Louisiana, where 3 of the top 5 players in America are not only from Louisiana, from within an hour of your campus. The number 1 player in the country is a lineman from St. Aug. The numbers 4 and 5 players in the country go to Catholic and U-High, respectively. I mean, you put a fence around the state in 25 and 26, and you have a roster that looks like Bama's has, Georgia's has in their run, and you have a roster that's competing for a national championship. And it is a hat tip to Brian Kelly for, and I'll repeat myself, because I said it before, and I know I'm going to end up saying this again. It's a hat tip to Brian Kelly. He came here knowing that that you can win at LSU because of the talent here, right? All of the resources and the talent you have here. But it probably took him 2 years to fully grasp the opportunity to say, all right, Frank Wilson, Scott Woodward, Verge Osbury, help me. Who do we need to get that we can add that's going to help us maximize, right? Like this soil is yielding a crop, and we need to go get all of it. How do I get all of it? And you're seeing it now. And it's going to be a lot of fun over the next few years. Jabari Antoine, the latest member of the class of 2025 for LSU. Cornerback is still a need for 2024. Make no mistake about that. I'm excited about Jair Brown coming in from Ohio State. We'll see J.K. Johnson, Zy Alexander coming off of injuries. Do any of the young guys that played a lot this year take a step from year 1 to year 2? There's a lot of questions. And I would love to see LSU add another cornerback in this portal class if there's one in the next cycle, right, when we get past spring football. But when you start to think beyond 24, boy, it's really exciting to look at the possibilities of what is there for this roster as a whole. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about Super Bowl 58 being set. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Drink easy in Louisiana with the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. You can always find the 12-ounce Bud Light cans with the Saints logo on it. And I've been telling you, these have been so popular. We got to make this announcement here on the show. I love our friends over at Mockler. They've been great partners of ours, and they gave us tickets to give away last week to the LSU South Carolina women's game, but they let us make this announcement on the show a few weeks back. You'll find the commemorative national championship bottle. This is, to anybody's knowledge, the first time a women's basketball team has ever had their own beer can. And it's a 16-ounce aluminum bottle. It's a collector's item with the national championship logo. You can find it at great retailers all over. So drink easy in Louisiana with the Champs and Bud Light. Okay, it's after further review. Cat Terrell at the bottom of this hour. I got to ask Cat about Michael Thomas if you missed it. Thomas started engaging with Saints fans over the weekend on Twitter, and he started taking not-so-veiled shots at all at Derek Carr and the Saints organization as a whole. Is his time in New Orleans done? It sure feels like it. We'll talk about that and other stuff with Cat Terrell in about 15 minutes. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. You know where to find them. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. LPT Realty. LPT stands for Listing Power Tools. And I continue to bring that up because when you're talking about Darren James, you're already talking about one of the top realtors in America. The Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list every year puts out their list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That's based on volume. That's numbers. That's raw data. Darren's number 54 in the country. And now you combine that with LPT Realty, the advanced marketing tools, their collaboration. Oh, my goodness. You wonder how you're going to get to a closing table faster for more money? It's Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Journey to be in yet another Super Bowl. I assume you never get tired of this.
No, you don't take it for granted either. You never know how many you're going to get to, or if you're going to get to any. It truly is special. Just to do it with these guys after what we've been through all season long, guys coming together, it really is special. I told them, the job's not done. Our job now is to prepare ourselves to play a good football team in the Super Bowl and try to get that ring.
Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs are heading to their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. I had someone ask me this morning, is it time to start having the GOAT conversation about Patrick Mahomes? No! No! What are you talking about? Hey, you know why So I've gotten into the habit. Every year after the national championship game, I go and I repost on Twitter, X, the video of Mike Greenberg after LSU beat Clemson. And he goes through all the superlatives of the season. We've all seen it by now, I'm sure, if you're an LSU fan. Do you want to know why I repost that every year now after the national championship game? Because of questions exactly like that. How quickly we forget and how easy and soon we are to crown someone else. Y'all, and I think most of you know and understand this. Clearly. But Tom Brady and Bill Belichick went to 9 Super Bowls together. Won 6 of them. Brady went to one in Tampa, won it. Tom Brady went to 10 Super Bowls and won 7 of them. This is incredible what Patrick Mahomes is doing right now. Yes, incredible. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years, 6 straight AFC championship games. Yes, it is incredible. It is, he is, if he retired today, already a Hall of Famer. But how in the world could you possibly have the GOAT conversation when he's at like a third of the elite level production that Tom Brady put forth over 20 years? Stop with that. Appreciate it in the moment. So no, I'm not ready to have the GOAT conversation yet. But Patrick Mahomes was incredible. I'll tell you what I learned. I think we have what we learned on the rundown for later. At 4:30. You know what I learned? You know what I learned, Muse?
What did you learn, Matt?
I'm not picking against Patrick Mahomes again.
Yep.
Not doing that.
Yep.
I mean, I dusted all you losers in our playoff pick'em. I think I lost 3 games the whole playoffs. 2 of them were picking against the Chiefs. Not doing that again. Going on record right now. I will be picking the Chiefs to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
And they opened as an underdog last night. Which is just...
I'm getting there.
Well, I was conversating.
I'm getting there. Well, yeah. They opened as and all the sports books, like the head of Caesar Sports Book is on record saying that you might see line movement. You already have. It went from 2.5 to 1.5, 1 in some spots. But they're anticipating that the game will go off with the Niners as a favorite. So, okay. You bet against Patrick Mahomes again. And, the reason I was okay going against Mahomes a couple of times is we've seen him lose. I mean, they lost an AFC championship game at home to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and they lost the Super Bowl. Now, granted, that was to Tom Brady. So maybe he just can't beat Mahomes or Brady. Or Burrow or Brady. And there's no crime. There's no crime in that. But yeah, I'm not picking against the Chiefs. There was something to be said watching that game yesterday. As great as the Ravens were, and I think the Ravens were I thought were the better team this year. They certainly had the better season. Lamar's going to win the MVP. They were better. The Ravens were a better team this year, and they were at home. Boy, tell me playoff experience didn't matter. I mean, how many boneheaded plays in that ball game did the Baltimore Ravens make? Lamar careless fumble in the first half. The Zay Flowers taunting penalty, Zay Flowers fumbling going into the end zone. That right there, I mean, fundamentally changed the game. Who is the defensive lineman that whacked Mahomes in the face? I mean, they were off the field, and one of the defensive linemen clotheslined Mahomes. Open hand whacked him right in the face. It was just so many of those moments throughout the game where you could tell experience just played a huge part in the game. Travis Kelce drew a personal foul when Kyle Van Noy hit him. Kind of headbutted him, kind of baited him into that. It mattered. It mattered a whole lot, man. And Baltimore buckled under that pressure. After the game, here was Lamar Jackson after his team fell short.
I'm not frustrated at all. I'm angry about losing. We're a game away from the Super Bowl. We've been waiting all this time, all these moments for an opportunity like this, and we fell short. But I feel like our team we're gonna build. This offseason we're gonna get right, get better, grind, and try to be in this position again. But on the other side of victory.
So Lamar Jackson, the Ravens fall short. Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl again. But the game that no doubt garnered the most conversation is what happened in the NFC Championship game with the Lions, who blew a 17-point lead. I mean, you have 24-7 at the half, and they blew it. And a lot of people are pointing to Dan Campbell in the fourth down calls. If you didn't follow the game, there were 2 in particular. About midway through the third quarter, Detroit's up 10. They had a fourth down opportunity, decided to go pass on a field goal, decided to go for it, didn't convert. A field goal there would have made it 17. It would have made it a 2-score game. And Campbell passed on it. In the fourth quarter, about the 7-minute mark, similar, this time the Lions are down 3, had an opportunity to tie the game, went for it, didn't convert, and we know what happened. So Dan Campbell was asked after the game about his fourth down decisions.
I just felt really good about us converting and getting our momentum and not letting them play long ball. You know, they were bleeding the clock out. That's what they do. And I wanted to get the upper hand back. And it's easy hindsight, and I get it, you know, I get that. But I don't regret those decisions. And that's hard because, you know, we didn't come through. It wasn't able to work out. But I don't. And I understand the scrutiny I'll get. That's part of the gig, man. But it just didn't work out.
I think everybody feels badly for Dan Campbell and the Lions. They were a great story. I think that the national sentiment was with the Lions, and they were up big, and they blew it. I mean, hat tip to the Niners. It's 2 weeks in a row they have been thoroughly outplayed on their home field and then rallied to win. And good teams do that, and they've done that, and hat tip to them. But the thing about Dan Campbell and what a lot of people have said about it is, so the Lions, I think everyone has probably seen the stat by now. If you haven't, I'll share it with you. The Lions went for it on 34% of fourth downs this season, which is not only the most in the NFL, that's the most in the NFL this century. So since the year 2000, that's the most a team has gone for it on fourth down. So I understand fundamentally saying, okay, this is who we are. It's who we've been all year. It's what we did to get us to this point. We're not going to change now that we're on this stage. So I respect that. But the other part of that is also true, which is if you went for it 34% of the time, that means 2/3 of the time you didn't go for it. And I can understand being aggressive and finding spots. What I rarely am okay with is passing on points. One of the mantras you hear me say a lot is, why do coaches hate points? And I don't have this like large statistical database to back this up or support this. So maybe this is just watching a lot of football, as all of you do over our lives, and it just feels like, to me, coaches now are getting more aggressive, and it feels like that is the role that analytics are playing. I mean, in every broadcast, when it's a fourth down, you'll see the little graphic on screen, 62% chance analytics say go for it, right? I mean, we see that like on every fourth down now. And I think we have maybe that has bled so much into the consciousness of coaches when they're making these decisions. Like Dan Campbell had the two that I just mentioned. One of them would have put him up 3 scores, passed on it. One of them would have tied the game, passed on it. Like at some point you have to recognize, okay, I need to do the thing that's going to increase my odds of winning the game, not take a chance right here. And that's the thing that's really hard to stomach. So, yes, people will say with the benefit of hindsight, like if they had converted there, we're going, oh, gutsy, what a brilliant call, yada, yada. I just don't agree with that. I think some risks are worth taking, but in those situations where you, by multitudes, improve your odds of winning a game by making a safer play, you have to make the safer play that's going to increase your odds by multitudes of winning the game. If the Lions had gone up 3 scores midway through the third quarter, that's not a certainty they win the game, but it puts that much more pressure on the Niners because not only do they have to stop the Lions from scoring, but they've got to overcome a 3-score. You got to get 3 more possessions. What if the Lions are able to bleed the clock? Anyway, and look, Campbell said it after the game. He realizes these opportunities are and can be fleeting.
This may have been our only shot. Do I think that? No. Do I believe that? No. However, I know how hard it is to get here. I'm well aware, and it's going to be twice as hard to get back to this point next year than it was this year.
It's the examples people always give. Dan Marino, went to Super Bowl in 1984, never made it back. You can make this assumption like, oh, we'll be back there. It's one of the things that I worry about, fear, concern, whatever, with Joe Burrow. Got there in year 2, you assume he'll get back. There's no guarantee you're ever getting back. And Drew Brees won a Super Bowl in New Orleans, never got back to it. Got back to the NFC Championship game, had a lot of playoff appearances, but never got back to the Super Bowl. So, I know the public sentiment was with the Lions, but boy, did they really blow a great opportunity on Sunday. All right, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking about buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Your first option, a farmer's first option, is always First South Farm Credit, because First South Farm Credit has been first in agriculture since 1916. That's First South Farm Credit. Maybe it's land for agriculture. Maybe it's land for your it's recreational property. Maybe it's you want to buy a piece of land, 20 acres to build your dream home. That'll be in your family for generations. First South Farm Credit has helped Louisianians buy land since 1916. It's that simple. So go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Check them out online. Go meet with one of their great lenders at First South Farm Credit. firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review. Going to knock out a quick break. We're a little tardy here. When we come back, we'll talk to Kat Terrell. Always appreciate a couple of minutes with Kat. Saints are still looking for an offensive coordinator, and Michael Thomas taking these not-so-veiled shots at the Saints, at Derek Carr, at the organization. Is he done in New Orleans? And plus, also, it's Senior Bowl week over in Mobile. So we got a lot to talk about with Kat, and we're looking forward to it. We'll do it next on AFR.
AFR.
Action Industries, an official partner of the LSU Tigers and of the LSU Baseball Tigers. Matter of fact, if you're out at the box this year, we're less than 3 weeks away from first pitch. If you're out at the box, whenever you see a mound visit this year at Alec Box Stadium, those mound visits, either team, will be presented by Action Industries. Action Industries is a great contractor that's been servicing the petrochemical and refinery markets in our state for 40 years, more than 40 years now, since 1982. If you're a maintenance manager, if you're a turnaround coordinator, you need to get to know Action Industries if you don't already. There's plenty of great companies. There's plenty of great contractors in our state and around the world, around the country. But Action Industries is local. They hire local. They're from the area. They hire local talent through all levels of their organization. They're local, and you will be their top priority. It's Action Industries. Learn more online at actionindinc.com for Action Industries.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
It's going to be a busy offseason for the New Orleans Saints. Feels like a very pivotal offseason. Our friend Kat Terrell, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. Kat, how are you?
I'm doing great. I wish it was still the weekend, but other than that, going great.
Don't we all? Maybe not so great for the Saints organization right now as they head into this offseason. You have a really extensive piece up right now at ESPN.com, or you're a contributor to a really extensive piece about the offseason. Put a big picture umbrella over this offseason, Kat. What is the general sentiment about the direction of the organization as they head into this offseason, which feels really pivotal?
Yeah, it feels to me like it's an offseason of not enough change, and yet change coming in ways that fans probably aren't going to be happy about. It's interesting that the biggest questions are about whether some of these star players are coming back, even though they're under contract. But, other than that, on the, coaching side, it just feels like it's kind of status quo. So it's a weird offseason. Not a lot of big free agents, but yet there could be a lot of change on the roster. It kind of just feels up in the air and also like the team's treading water, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's a bizarre juxtaposition where they are right now. I'll get to the players in a second. Let me talk about staff. Any feeling as to how this direction is going right now with offensive coordinator?
No, it's been really quiet the last few days. I feel like we're going to have to know something this week. This is usually when the Saints make these types of decisions, either heading into Senior Bowl week or right after. And, as people know, that's kind of kicking off today in Mobile. The Saints usually send a pretty large contingent out there. But I think the worst thing that they can do is if they can't get any of these big names and just fall back on someone who's already on staff or something like that, because I think the team really needs a reason to ignite this fan base and get them back on their side. And that's just not going to do it if that ends up being how things go.
Yeah. Are they waiting to interview Greasy and Kubiak with the 49ers? Obviously, they're still playing.
Well, I think that they would be able to interview them this week, right? They can do I think they can do the interviews on the off week before all the Super Bowl stuff starts up this week. I have to look into because it's been a long time since the Saints hired an offensive coordinator. But generally, I believe it would happen on the off week.
Kat Terrell's with us. She's on Twitter at @Kat_Terrell, ESPN.com Saints reporter. I'm sure you saw the Michael Thomas Twitter.
Of course.
What do we call it? Spat, whatever. I'll oversimplify. Thomas took
airing of grievances.
Yeah, sure. He took shots at Derek Carr, at the organization as a whole. Is he done in New Orleans?
He has to be after that. This is not the first time that he's done that. He did it, as anyone paying attention at the time knows, he did it during a game. However, I guess the comments he tweeted during that game when he was on IR were vague enough that he brushed them off. I'm not saying it wasn't a big deal, but maybe you could. These were extremely pointed, saying he would have had 1,000 yards if he had gotten better passes this way. They never passed to him. Saying no one wants to be the offensive coordinator there. That's extremely pointed, and if a player is airing that out, really, it shows that either he doesn't care or he doesn't think that there will be any consequences for that happening.
Yeah, there's no fear of any type of repercussions.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it feels like he's already got a foot out of the door. What does this mean for his contract, Kat? Because as I understand it, he's got a $10 million cap hit and $18 million in dead money. So are they just going to eat $18 million and send him on his way?
Well, the contract was always a little weird because technically he's not a free agent, but it's the same situation as last year. He's got these major roster bonuses built in if he's still on the roster on the third day of the league year, which I think is, I'm probably about to say this wrong. I think it's March 16th or 17th.
You mean you didn't memorize every player's contract, Kat? What's wrong with you? You call yourself a journalist?
I didn't memorize the date free agency starts, which I should because it's going to run my life very soon.
Right.
Regardless, the Saints aren't paying him $150 million in roster bonuses. I'm actually doing a piece pretty soon that I usually do every year, and it breaks down the cap hits and what would it mean if they cut such and such players. Michael Thomas would have to be someone that would be a post-June first cut, I believe. I mean, the thing is, you can only do two of those. So, how many? Jameis Winston would probably also be a post-June first cut. I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see how they break this down, because if they want to part ways with all these players, it's not going to be cheap. It never is.
Yeah, it's why it's such a weird offseason, right? It feels like, well, you are. I mean, you were so close to winning the division and being a playoff team, but you feel so far away. So and Kat Terrell's here for a couple more minutes, as they go into this week's Senior Bowl and Combine and Pro Days and all that stuff toward the draft, where do you identify the biggest needs that the Saints have?
Well, here's the problem. We're talking about them cutting these players and accruing dead money, which, is money they cannot spend in free agency on other players. So they'll get under the cap as always, but they probably won't have a ton to spend. And they desperately need to fix both their offensive line and their defensive line, which if you do it in free agency, it's not cheap. You don't just go find left tackles hanging out on the street for peanuts. The Saints have done okay with kind of finding bargains. Like James Hurst was a bargain. But that's where they have to start. They have to fix the offensive line. A lot of issues there, a lot of question marks. Still don't know Ryan Ramczyk's status. And then they have to find a pass rush. They need to find the next Cam Jordan, and that probably is going to have to happen in the draft somehow. So they love the Senior Bowl. They love picking players that play in the Senior Bowl. So I'm sure at least one player that plays this week will end up on the Saints roster.
I mean, well, of course, Trevor Penning a couple of years ago was one of the guys that splashed at the Senior Bowl.
Right.
He's been a giant miss, which is why offensive line still remains a big need for the Saints right now. And you mentioned pass rush. If only they had drafted someone like, I don't know, Trey Hendrickson. That would have been great if that could happen. Guy was second in the NFL.
But that's where the cap issues.
Right.
That is where the cap issues come into play. You can say the Saints always get under the cap and they make it worse. Of course, they make it worse. But Trey Hendrickson was absolutely of the management of the cap. That was one where, some of the other players, they have like a hard line. They don't want to cross in terms of money. Marcus Williams was one of them. They instead signed two players for the same price as him. Trey Hendrickson was probably the biggest casualty of their cap space, and that's really unfortunate because a few years later we see how much they could have used them, just like you said.
They make it worse. Was that a Freudian slip?
Oh, maybe. I mean,
it had to be. It's
going to be rough for a few years.
Is a couple more for you, Kat. Kat Terrell's our guest on Twitter at @Kat_Terrell, ESPN.com. Y'all give her a follow. We know they're proceeding with Derek Carr. They have to. Do you get the sense around the organization that they are all in to try to win with Derek Carr? Or is this sort of a bridge year to what they feel the future of the organization will be?
Well, I think that really the big tell is going to be whether they restructure his contract. I think they have to. Right now, looking at that is a giant salary cap spreadsheet. Because I'm a giant nerd. I think they're $80 million over the cap. It might be 70. We don't know the exact number, but the projection has $80 million over the structural contract. So if they restructure Derek Carr, that means essentially pushing out here before they can cut him without like major financial implications. Mm-hmm. The salary is guaranteed, so they're paying him no matter what. But the thing is, I truly do believe that Mickey Loomis and Derek Carr. See, I can't talk today. Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen are all in on Derek Carr, and I would hope that Derek Carr is also all in on Derek Carr. But they have supported him consistently. No matter what we asked over the course of the season, they've said Derek Carr. a lot of people thought at the end of the season they were going to say they thought he was injured, then he left. That's exactly what they said. So, taking it all at face value, yeah, I feel like they believe that he's the guy for a while.
She's Kat Terrell, Saints reporter over at ESPN.com, and of course on Twitter at @Kat_Terrell. Always appreciate the insight. Thanks for a few minutes.
On.
All right, be well. It's After Further Review. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and now indoor shutters as well. If you need your interior shutters, remember Relief Windows. They measure twice, install once, custom made for the specifications of your home. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, let me knock out a quick break. Because Kat was available right there, we're just going to flip things. We'll come back, go around the SEC here to wrap up hour number one. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. If you are an employer, you're a business owner, and you need help hiring, you've been going through the hiring rat race, especially since COVID, finding people that are qualified, finding people that want to work, and you've just been striking out. Misses are costing you productivity and money. Glow Resources can help. They're complete employer solutions. They're online at glowresources.com, GLO, glowresources.com. I know I shared this number with you before, but I continue to share it because it's so important. They place thousands of employees in jobs all over the country and honestly all over the world in so many different industries and sectors. And they have a 93% retention rate. And at Glow Resources, if you hire one of their employees and it doesn't work out, they'll give you a prorated refund or they'll find someone else for free. It's Glow Resources. glowresources.com.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Brack teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri.
AFR. After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We had to flip things with Terrell in the last segment, so let's do it right now. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Florida expected to hire Patriots assistant special teams coach Joe Houston to be their special teams coordinator. Houston, has been with the Pats the last 3 seasons. Before coaching the NFL, Houston had 4 years of experience at Iowa State, so he does have time in college level also with Houston and Toledo as well.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss expected to hire Alabama tight ends coach Joe Cox to serve in the same role for the program there in Oxford. Cox spent the last 2 years with the Crimson Tide. He'll replace John David Baker, who accepted an offer to become East Carolina's offensive coordinator back in December. So Ole Miss hiring another former Alabama assistant.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Texas special assistant to the head coach and former Rams assistant Joe DeCamillis set to be the new special teams coordinator for the Gamecocks. He replaces Pete Lembo, who is the new head coach of the Buffalo Bulls, not to be confused with Buffalo Bills. DeCamillis spent the majority of his career in the NFL as a special teams coordinator starting back in 1993 with the Giants. He's also been with the Falcons, Cowboys, Bears, Broncos, Jags, and Rams.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Bama has their new, Bama and their new head football coach has their new director of recruiting strategy. Matt Zenitz of On3 is reporting that Jatavis Sanders is the new director of recruiting strategy, currently works at NC State, now moving over from NC State to Tuscaloosa. Actually, NC State had their second highest recruiting class ever since the 2008 cycle this past year. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about South Point Volkswagen at southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Tell you every single day. One of the great things about driving a Volkswagen is the safety features. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. That's why I drive a Volkswagen. I got the Atlas Crossport. My wife drives the Atlas, which is the 3-row 7-seater. It's a great family SUV. All the safety features, the great German engineering, the style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost. And even better, manufactured right here in the USA at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you're supporting American jobs. You get the great German engineering at a great cost. And South Point Volkswagen is local. They're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, Airline Highway just north of Highland Road. And, of course, in Lafayette, Southwest Volkswagen as well. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Remember, you can always text the show in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Got a text from Scott Pritchard who said, Matt, what's up with Tackett Curtis in the portal? So Tackett Curtis, who's the linebacker from Manny, who was a freshman this past year out at USC, one of the guys that never really considered LSU, jumped in the portal after 1 year at Southern Cal. He's committed to Wisconsin. That actually happened earlier this month. It's been about 3 weeks ago, but I know sometimes when there's literally more than 1,000 players in the portal, sometimes guys commit and it can go under the radar. You can miss it. But Tackett Curtis is headed to Wisconsin. If I were to look at when we talk about LSU football and building the roster, the way that I've described it here is you have wants, you have needs, and you have musts. I would put linebacker as a want. Like, I would love to have another starting linebacker. But I can look at that position and go, okay, we got Greg Penn coming back for another year, and I think everyone's excited to see what Whit Weeks can do as a full-time starter as an off-ball linebacker. That's a great way to start. And then you've got West Weeks, who's back for another year. You have Christian Braithwaite, who was a freshman on this year's team, who's coming up. And then you've got your freshman class coming in as well. Would it be a great security blanket to sign another linebacker who's a starting caliber player? Absolutely. Is it a need? No. I would put cornerback as a need and interior defensive line as a must. And I think they will. I am certain LSU will address interior defensive line. It may not be until the spring portal cycle, when the portal window opens in spring, after spring football. But Bo Davis coming in, the NIL money that LSU has to spend by virtue of Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo choosing to go pro, LSU is going to add interior defensive linemen. We'll see if they're able to add any cornerbacks or potentially linebackers as well. All right, hour number 2 coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. It's 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. Dr. Blake Williamson and his staff, man, they do awesome work. I've told you my story. It's been 5.5 years now since I had LASIK. I wish I had done it 5.5 years before. One of the most rewarding things for me is when you call the Williamson Eye Center, you go for the consultation, you get your LASIK done, and then you send me a note and say, Matt, I'm so glad you were the push to make me call, to make me go in for that consultation. I'm thrilled. The bottom line is, when you talk to Dr. Blake, he'll tell you, like, his opinion is everyone. His view is that everyone just have the right to see. And so they make it affordable for you, and they do amazing work. It's the Williamson Eye Center. Let this be your push. Call 924-2020 or online at williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
This is SportsCenter. I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, the Chiefs will be without defensive end Charles Omenihu for Super Bowl 58 against the 49ers. He has a torn ACL suffered in the AFC Championship game win in Baltimore. Omenihu has been one of KC's best pass rushers all season. He finished third on the team in sacks in the regular season with 7 to go along with 2 forced fumbles in 11 games. Doc Rivers set to make his Bucs coaching debut tonight in Denver against the defending champion Nuggets. Rivers taking over for the fired Adrian Griffin. With his vast coaching experience and NBA championship, Doc should resonate with his new team, believes ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler.
He walks in there and he's got a ring on his finger. And I think as a coach, that's going to carry a lot of weight with a veteran team. He's going to be able to say certain things to them probably and have them receive it differently than maybe some things Adrian Griffin could have said. So I'm looking at what the Bucs do defensively, transition defense, half-court pick-and-roll adjustments, those kinds of things, because that's what the Bucs need to clean up the most.
Tim Legler, 76er star Joel Embiid continues to deal with left knee soreness, out a second consecutive game tonight against the Trailblazers.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, I'll tell you which quarterbacks have raised their stock the most in the playoffs. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk some LSU baseball in about 15 minutes, 1 hour from right now. We learned on Friday, Austin Thomas returning to LSU football. We'll talk the impact, maybe some Taylor Swift impact on the Super Bowl next hour as well. I don't know, y'all excited about that?
Oh, yeah.
I can tell for sure. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Usually, whenever we have members of the G team in studio with us or talk to us, it's like big hulking linemen. Decidedly different today. We have an LSU cheerleader and a member of the Tiger Girls, Kyla, Hebert, Darah, Haidet in studio with us. Ladies, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Glad to have you. Glad
us.
to have you both. We'll go proximity. So, Darah, I'll start with you. Tiger Girls just polished off a second national championship since you've been on this.
Here's my ring.
Oh, wait, hold
yes.
on. Wait. I want to wear it.
This is the first one. Oh, yeah.
I want to wear it. Oh, this is the first one. Okay.
This is 2022.
It might fit my pinky. Nope, it goes halfway down my pinky. So y'all get legit national championship rings.
Oh, yes.
Is that from LSU or the NCAA? How does that work?
They're from LSU, yes. And so this one is from 2022. We won nationals 2 years ago, and then we just won again 2024, our Michael Jackson dance. So we won the hip hop category. Yeah.
So 2 years ago, you all won with Like a Boy.
Yes.
And that went, like, for those who aren't on TikTok or maybe weren't then, that went, like, mega viral.
For sure.
on it became it became a TikTok trend.
Right, yeah.
When, like, did you think, like, when did you realize, so I'll go back before we go forward, when did you realize that was, like, a really big deal? Like, that was sinking in?
I think once we got off and everyone was, like, chanting our name and they were like, I'm going to, like, pass out. I can't believe I just saw that live. And I was like, wait, our dance? Like, us, really? And we're just normal girls that dance. I mean, it just blew up crazy. And I think we were on the Kelly Clarkson show and Sierra saw us dance, which was amazing. So I just think that all of the publicity that came after it and people just like recognizing dance and our whole message was like a boy, obviously. So I think it was just, as soon as we got off, once it kind of blew up, we were like, oh, wow, that really meant something to us. And it kind of portrayed to everyone else too.
Do you all, I would imagine in a way, feel partly responsible for people even becoming aware of dance as a competitive sport?
I hope so. And I mean, I think it was always happening. Like, I feel like dance team's always been pushing for it. But I think with TikTok and like social media and then kind of the push for our team to kind of really go public with everything, I think it definitely has helped. Yeah. So that's amazing.
I mean, so this is, Paul, if you want to pull it up, back screen or wherever you want to go. So this was the dance that you all did to Smooth Criminal.
Yeah.
Which is like my wife and I went to New York last year for anniversary, and we went and saw MJ the musical on Broadway.
Yeah.
And like this felt like something straight out of Broadway. It was a full-on production.
For sure.
How long does it take to choreograph something like this?
So our choreography process is 7 days straight. We're there for hours with our choreographers, Tribe 99, Sammy and Carson. And then this year they brought in 2 other professionals that did a whole locking section for us, which is like the foundations of hip hop, which is amazing. And then for a month straight, from after finals hits, we're there at the Carl Maddox is our facility, and we're there all day, every day until we hit nationals. So.
It's a pretty incredible thing. I know cheer is very similar in the way that you all prepare as well. So Kyla, let me ask you when you jump in here, what is a day like during season? I guess there's never an off season for y'all either, right?
There really is no off season.
So walk me through a day when you all are training and preparing.
So a full day for us is walking into practice, and then we really just start off warming up, and then we get into stunning, tumbling, and
This is after class though, right?
This is after class.
So it's like class all day, and then when do you all start practice?
We start practice this semester. We're going to start at 3:30 and go until 5:30.
Yeah.
But that whole time, guys are throwing us. We're doing tumbling, and it's really hard on the body.
Was it so? What's every time? So I told you off air that both of my sisters-in-law both cheered at LSU.
Yeah.
And so I know you will have an answer to this, but I haven't asked you yet. Injuries. What's your injury history?
I've had about 3 concussions so far since I've been at LSU, but that's the only injury, so I'm thankful for that.
Okay.
But in high school, I broke my collarbone and broke my ankle. But
Okay.
but at LSU, just 3 concussions.
So 3 concussions, a broken collarbone, and a broken ankle. Like I played football in high school. All I ever broke was this finger. So like I know like what y'all do is really it is competitive, it is athletic, it is powerful, it is dangerous too. Like, did you struggle with that fear at all?
You know, growing up, I think I've never really been scared of it, and that's what drew me to it. I started out in gymnastics, and then I went to cheerleading, and I was like, I'm really brave. Like, I can do this. Like
Right.
being thrown in baskets, being thrown in stunts, like I was drawn to it. And that's why I think cheer is like my direction that I should be going in.
Members of the G team here, Kyla, Hebert, LSU cheerleader, Darah, Haidet, LSU Tiger Girl, captains, right?
Yeah.
A national champion of the Tiger Girl captain, which is awesome. Kyla, let me ask, whenever, I would imagine that, tell me if I'm wrong, but like cheering in Tiger Stadium, home game, especially when the team's running out of the tunnel, like that has to be sort of like this euphoric high. Is that the moment as a cheerleader? Is there something else that beats it?
I have to say that that's the moment for me. And like anytime someone asks me about it, I tell them that I can't describe it to them because it's just a feeling that you can't describe to anybody. Like we have the best stadium with the best fans. So going in there, it's like I'm on a high every time I'm in that stadium. It's so different from anything I've ever felt.
You both have done deals with Gordon here to be part of the G team, which is, I know Gordon was in here last week, and we talked a lot of NIL. And I know a big push of his as we move to Women's History Month is that they're going to be announcing a new female member of the G team every week, which is an awesome thing to do. Absolutely. Why, Darah, I'll go back to you. Why was this an interesting opportunity for you to partner with Gordon?
Yeah, it's just been, he's given a platform to us as female athletes that is just beyond my, like, anything I could have ever dreamed of. I feel like he fosters like the best out of people and what he stands for, and he's really the real deal. So for him to partner with like female athletes like us who maybe aren't considered real sports is something that is I'm forever grateful for, because he's given us a platform to talk to you, to represent him and his brand. So it's been an amazing opportunity.
Hey, Kyla, I know in the sit down you did with Gordon, you talked about that, about how like some people would tell you like cheer isn't a real sport, and that was one of the first things that Gordon said to you. Yeah,
he told me like I am an athlete, and I said in my Get Ready With Me that I made not that long ago. But you know, whenever we sat down in that meeting, whenever he told me that, it made me feel super comfortable with him, because I knew that he appreciates what I do and what we do. And I know that he knows that you're an athlete and we're both athletes. So I'm glad that he recognized that. What
do you all, I'm just curious, like maybe not necessarily sports specific, right? But just your impressions and opinions on NIL. Like, Kyla, let me just stay with you. What does having NIL opportunities mean for you as a student athlete?
For me, it means that I can be an influence on other people, especially the little girls and little boys that look up to us. Like especially in our field with cheer and dance, it may not be recognized as much as other sports. So with Gordon and with this NIL deal, I really just want to be an influence on other people to maybe look more into what we do and maybe have some respect for how much work we put in for what we do.
Yeah. Darah, do you think it's NIL has maybe changed the way you approach what you do?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just giving us a platform in general is all that like dance can ask for, because often we're just overlooked, or they just shake their palms, but it's so much more than that. And I think like public figures like Gordon McKernan recognizing that is exactly what we need. We just need a voice and people to listen, and then they'll look into what we do, and then whenever we start winning, then people want to pay attention too. But it definitely takes more than that for sure. So.
Is it so? Is this your last year?
It is.
Okay, so you're not back.
Year.
So, but you're not done yet, right?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore, so you got 2 more
years.
Yeah.
Yes.
We St. Joe's Academy, by the way. Shout out, go Red Stickers. It's I was going to ask what when the preparation for next year's nationals begins. Like when does choreography stuff like that start for next year?
Well, we're already in training. We had 6 a.m.s this morning, so we're back into the grind of everything. We have choreography probably August, September area, but our season never stops. We are doing basketball right now. We about to start traveling for tournaments, SEC, NCAA, all the things, and we do baseball too. So we never stop. But.
Kyla, what about y'all? I mean, I think everybody, it's so visible at football and basketball as well. But what other events are you all at?
So we are at women and men's basketball, volleyball, gymnastics meets, and we also just recently cheered at a swim meet for our first time. So.
Wait,
That's cool.
Wait, hold on. Are you stunting?
No.
Okay, I was how terrifying would that be if someone if it was wet, right?
That would be a disaster.
Yeah,
no, we are not stunning.
A wet platform, there feels like there's all kind of liability that could be involved right there. Not that. Kyla, Hebert, Darah, Haidet, LSU cheerleader, LSU National Championship Tiger Girl, members of the G team, which we're, of course, thrilled to be a part of as well. Ladies, I appreciate y'all so much for coming in. Glad to be partnered with Gordon, and glad to have y'all spend a couple of minutes today.
Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. It's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll talk some LSU baseball when we come back. Y'all stay here.
AFR.
And I'm not even making it up. I get to talk about Gordon right now. Like it's literally the next one on my list. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Of course, Gordon has done amazing work through the G team, as you've heard us talk about here today, and with so many student athletes, men, women, all different sports, and actually at different universities all over the state of Louisiana, giving NIL opportunities to student athletes. It's part of what Gordon does through Gordon Gives, which is the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. So I tell you every day, if you've been in an accident, it's not your fault, you need representation, you know what to do. Get Gordon, get it done. You can call the 888-8888. That's 888-8888. You can go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. But if you want to learn more about the G team, if you want to see the Riding with G series, where it started with Gordon riding around with Kim Mulkey, a little short form interview, you can see that at gordongives.com. You can learn so much more about what he does during Women's History Month or Breast Cancer Awareness Month or around the holidays as well. It's all there at gordongives.com, gordongives.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Hey, thanks again to Kyla and to Darah for jumping aboard with us. Gordon's been a great partner of ours, and Gordon was here last week, and we spent a good half an hour talking NIL and got so much feedback from that conversation. Just a transparent conversation about NIL and the state of NIL and sort of where LSU is, and with respect to other athletic departments. And I'm happy to highlight student athletes. And look, when it's Mason Smith, or I think last year we had we had Miles Frazier in studio. I'm trying to do it off the cuff, but I mean, we've had dozens of members of the G team in all different sports come in. And I'm always happy to do that. And they gave us the opportunity to talk to Darah and to Kyla and give them the platform, and I was thrilled to do that as well. So appreciate them for coming in. And the NIL conversation is so I kind of feel like a lot of parts of that conversation are starting to they're starting to take. What I mean is, I feel like the general fan base is starting to learn more about NIL and how it works and the impact it's having. And yes, there's no doubt still a portion of this and every fan base that sees school X getting commitments and goes, they're buying players, or they're ahead in NIL. And to a degree, that's true, but there's so many more layers to it, and there's individuality, like what you just saw with Darah and Kyla, who are both, I think, an illustration of what NIL was meant to be, not pay for play, which it has become with the top 1%, in football or whatever sport it may be, where athletes are getting paid to go to that school, and it's being phrased as NIL. But when you see things like what Gordon's doing with a lot of different sort of non-revenue sports, or I know I give the example all the time of in the first year that NIL was live, there was an LSU gymnast who I won't mention her name. Well, yeah, I won't mention her name, but who made over $30,000 doing smaller NIL deals and really working very hard. And like, that's not insignificant money. I didn't make 30 grand in college. Hell, I didn't make 30 grand until I was probably 5 years into my career. Hashtag media life. But it's like, there are great opportunities in NIL. And there's also the other component of it, which is you have to be able to fundraise to be competitive as well. So, look, I'll tell you, Gordon was very candid last week. And I'll throw these numbers out because he did it publicly here on the show and he disclosed it. But LSU's football roster for 2023, this most recent season, LSU had about $4 million worth of NIL invested into that football program. The collective did, I should say. And that might seem like a lot, but Texas this past season, the team that went to the college football playoff, had about $13 million in that roster. So you can see there's the very clear-cut top 10, 12 schools that are just outpacing everybody. There's this sort of clump of about 30 schools that are all about the same, and LSU is in that mix. And then there's the have-nots, those that just can't compete at this or any level. So the question is, like, really, the challenge is, how do you get to be at like the top of that clump of 30 or into that top tier? Do you want to be, or how can you compete with the top tier if you don't raise $12 million plus per year? Do those numbers ever correct? And that's something that we'll learn in time. LSU's collective does have an event this weekend, and it's a black tie event they're having at the LSU indoor. They're going to have tables set up on the indoor facility practice field, and they're going to do a black tie event for a lot of donors that they're hoping to engage. I mean, I've shared this with you before, but LSU has 3 really like elite level donors, meaning $1 million donors. 3. And the whole collective is basically funded by about 24 people. So you've got those $3 million donors, and then you've got another 20 or so that are all very, very generous, high-level donors. But the challenge and really the vulnerability for LSU is if one of those donors says, I'm not going to give this year, or I'm going to give to TAF or whatever. If they don't give or give less or redirect their donation, it leaves you really vulnerable. So the challenge for LSU right now is you have to engage a larger pool of your supporters to give. And it's that, maybe $50,000 to $100,000 level. And then also your fan that can give $20, $50, $100 a month. Like if you go to BayouTraditionsCollective.com, if you go to the website, and by the way, I want to be, before I even say this, I want to be very clear. This is not an appeal. I am not asking anybody to go give money. And I'm always transparent with you, but I will be completely transparent. I do not give money to LSU athletics. Since I've been in this job, I never have. When I was a recent graduate of LSU, I gave to TAF to try to get on the list to get tickets or whatever, but that's been 20 years. I do not give money to LSU athletics. I do not give money to the collective, and I never will as long as I'm in this job. I do donate money to my alma mater, to the Manship School, to the journalism school. I do make donations there. Not that I'm like they ain't putting my name on a building or even a classroom or anything like that, you understand, but just as an alum. So I'm just in the name of transparency. So this is not me making an appeal for you to go give money to LSU or the collective or anything, okay? I just want to be transparent. But LSU, like, what they need to engage is, like, if you go to the website, BayouTraditionsCollective.com, there is there's a link for they call it the Natty Club. And you can give $20, $50, or $100 a month. Those levels, I've shared this with you before, but Ole Miss is in the 6,000-7,000 range of donors at those levels, at 20, 50, 100. they've engaged their average fan. Auburn is in the 3,000-4,000 range. I asked about LSU, someone with the collective, about a month ago, and LSU had 300. That's where the gap is. It is, how does LSU engage the average fan to spend $20, $50, $100 a month to give to the collective? How do you go from 300 to 3,000 given $20, $50, $100 a month? You do that, now all of a sudden you've built your residual, and you're at a really healthy spot, and then you can go build on top of that, right? Knowing that that's almost like salary. That is really the gigantic challenge. That's how you insulate yourself. You protect yourself in case if one of those high level donors says, I'm not going to give this year, I'm going to pull back a bit. You're protected from that loss if you're able to engage. So I didn't intend to go this direction here, actually. I was going to talk about LSU baseball here in this segment, which I guess I'll do in the next segment. But I started down this path because we had Kyla and Darah in here, who are LSU student athletes. One's a cheerleader, one's a Tiger Girl. They did NIL deals with Gordon, and it's a great illustration of how NIL can work and give great opportunities for two young ladies, young athletes who are working really hard, and now they have this opportunity. Yes, they're going to make money. They're also getting exposure for their squads. But it also speaks to the different ways that NIL can work, has worked, and in some instances hasn't worked. So anyway, I know that was a sort of a random tangent, and I didn't intend to go there. But anyway, I hope that was interesting, if not informative. It's after further review. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Take a quick moment, remind you about Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. Boy, I talked to my guy Jim over at Pure Restoration, and with all of the rain this weekend and this past weekend and at the end of last week, boy, the phones were buzzing. If you need remediation, if you have water intrusion, Pure Restoration can help. Remember, they can do complete demolition, build back, everything. But their differentiator is if you have mold or odor that you need to get rid of, Pure Restoration. They have a patented non-toxic dry fog. If you go to the website, pure-restoration.com, that's pure-restoration.com, you'll see where they have a side-by-side. It'll show you an illustration of the difference between a dry fog and then a traditional sort of wet fog. I mean, it is exactly what it says. It's a dry fog, so you don't have to pull up carpet or take furniture out or anything like that. They go in, they spray. As soon as the fog dissipates, you can go back in free and clear. It's killed the mold, killed odor, other harmful pathogens. It's Pure Restoration. If you can't remember the website, you can always just shoot me a note. Scone, what's the mold thing you talk about? Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. All right. Thanks for being here with us. We opened up the show today with good news for LSU football. A big 4-star commitment for the class of 2025, and with Jabari Antoine. We will get to the Austin Thomas news in about 30 minutes from right now. While we were on air Friday, late in the show Friday, is when the Austin Thomas news broke that he's coming back to LSU. So we mentioned it, but didn't have really a chance to dive deep into it. I'll get to that at the top of next hour, so about 30 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, I will talk some LSU baseball. Tigers near the top of another preseason poll today that came out. We'll get to that and let you hear a little more from Jay Johnson and the players. They at the practice field for the first time this past Friday. Working toward opening day, less than 3 weeks. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Words are important and good when they're used in sequence. All right, AFR is brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance, two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there in Baton Rouge. And there are always, always, always great reasons to get by either. But remember, I want to remind you, the Spanish Town Parade is coming up on February the 10th. And so if you've been thinking about getting by the Gregory or experiencing downtown Baton Rouge, the Spanish Town Parade is February the 10th, and the Gregory will be open. So if you're making plans to be in downtown Baton Rouge, make the Gregory or Milford's on 3rd part of your day. The Gregory is awesome. I mean, it's white tablecloth, fine dining there in the Watermark Hotel. Milford's on 3rd is a deli restaurant that you can access from 3rd Street. But make plans to dine with our friends at the Watermark, downtown Baton Rouge, if you're going to be there for the Spanish Town Parade on February 10th. At the Gregory or at Milford's on 3rd at the Watermark Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
From your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined we.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Another day is but another preseason top 25 for college baseball. This time, Baseball America doing the honors, and your Fighting Tigers, the defending champs, number 2 in the preseason top 25 according to Baseball America. Wake Forest, number 1, LSU, number 2, followed by Arkansas, Florida, Oregon State, TCU, Vandy, Tennessee, Clemson, and then Virginia rounding out the top 10. If you're wondering, so LSU at 2, Arkansas at 3, Florida at 4, Vandy at 7, Tennessee at 8, and then A&M 11, South Carolina 12, Auburn at 23. So those are your SEC teams ranked in the top 25 from Baseball America. But LSU's number 2. And I know there's so much focus on replacing Skeens and Cruz, as well there should be. Dylan Cruz won the Golden Spikes. Paul Skeens won the Dick Hauser and the National Pitcher of the Year. I get it. You're replacing arguably the greatest starting pitcher LSU's ever had and arguably the greatest position player LSU has ever had. So, yes, replacing them is massive, and you're not going to replace them with one guy. You don't have a Dylan Cruz. You don't have a Paul Skeens. You may never, again, chances are you will at some point. Someone will come along and will be the next great phenom who the top pick in the draft and is a 5-tool all-everything guy. And just like I'm sure many thought when Ben McDonald was the first picked overall in the draft in 1989, there'd never be another one. And then 35 years later, here comes Paul Skeens, who breaks Ben McDonald's strikeout record in fewer games or fewer innings pitched. So it'll likely happen again, but it may not happen in a lot of our lifetimes. So you're not going to replace either one of those guys with one guy, but can you replace it collectively? And I think that's really the makeup of this team that's going to be interesting. And we talked on Friday, if you weren't here, with Terrell about the pitching staff. I'd highly recommend you go do that. We did this last year, and it was a popular series that we did, and so we'll do it again this year, where each Friday with Terrell leading up to the opener, he'll talk a different position group. So, like, we talked starting pitching, we'll talk infield, we'll talk outfield as a group, we'll talk offense as a group, bullpen. So we'll get to all that as we get closer to the opener. But if you want to hear the convo about the starting pitching, you can go catch AFR on demand from Friday. It was the first 2 segments of hour number 3 from Friday. You can go check it out. We talked tons of starting pitching. So I kind of wanted to look a little bit at the offense. And what's striking is if you look at the guys that were the everyday players from a year ago, you only got 2 returning in Tommy White and Jared Jones. If you want to include that, like if you look at the top 8 hitters on LSU's roster from a year ago by batting average, you go Cruz, White, Beloso, Morgan, Jones, Jobert, Dugas, Thompson. Well, the only 2 returning are Tommy White and Jones. Travinski hit 356, but obviously wasn't an everyday starter. Late in the year, he'd obviously emerged when it's hard to justify not having his bat in the lineup. And obviously had the injury to Neal as well, which sort of opened up that position. But Travinski at 356, and getting Travinski back is really big for this team. Where you play him, is Brady Neal an everyday catcher? How does Milazzo fit in? I mean, you got a big question there for how they're going to make it work. But, Jay Johnson on Friday talked about re-recruiting Hayden Travinski.
At least since I've been here, he hasn't had a stretch where he's been healthy. And so I still believed there was more on the table for him at LSU. And he believed the same. And it is really cool to see that type of maturity, because he definitely could have been drafted and signed. I mean, that was all him to decide that he wanted to do this.
And so with Travinski back, and again, a guy hit 356 a year ago, what is the value? Here's Jay Johnson, the value Hayden brings to this team.
I think he will be one of the most dangerous hitters in college baseball this year. And I think he's gotten better. I thought he got better last year. And throughout this fall, the maturity in the at-bats is what you'd expect of a guy with that talent, with this experience to have. Now it's our job to keep him healthy, keep him on track.
Well, I think it's also going to be interesting to see how they manage the catcher position. Because you do have Brady Neal coming back from injury. You have Alex Milazzo back and Hayden Travinski back. So how they manage that. A year ago, the plan was Neal would catch and Milazzo would be the late inning defensive replacement. And then Neal got injured. And so then you saw more of a Milazzo, Travinski, saw Bear Jones back there. Mostly played first and DH'd. But here was Jay Johnson on Brady Neal, developing even with the injury a year ago.
It was pretty clear he was going to be out for a while when he got hurt. And, I grabbed him the very first game. He wasn't playing. And I just pointed at Cade Beloso and I said, hey, I want you to watch every single at-bat that Cade Beloso takes the rest of the season. Because if you can do this, along with all the other things that you do well, you're going to leave here a very happy player. And there's going to be a pro team that's going to be really happy to draft you really high someday. And I think he grew a ton. And that's part of why guys need to come here. And so I'm proud of him. I'm proud of his growth and development, and just the conversations he and I have now on a daily basis are much more advanced than they were a year ago.
Speaking of Cade Beloso, what a great legacy and a great example to teach from, where you can take a young guy and say, look at that dude who's been through darn near everything, was going to be the opening day DH, tears his ACL, decides to come back and run it back and wins a national championship and has some massive at-bats during the postseason. So that is a great testament to sticking with it. I'm still going to be very interested to see how they make it all work with those 3 guys. And then another gigantic question is Trey Morgan, who, last year we started seeing him in the outfield. I'm very glad, at least, I don't have to have the Trey Morgan, is he a first baseman, is he an outfielder conversation anymore. But defensively, he's probably the best first baseman we've ever seen at LSU defensively. So what do you do there now? How do you replace Trey Morgan at first? Here was Jay Johnson.
Jared is going to probably be the first baseman as of today. Much like Paxton, that's a guy I want to get behind and go. And as long as the mindset is right, then I feel good about that. He's a huge target. I thought he was so good, or maybe a little more advanced than we thought, that it allowed us to pass the time where Trey was hurt and couldn't catch the ball at first base from a throw across the infield, that we could leave him in the outfield. And Jared, over 300 and hit 14 homers in the SEC as a freshman. That's great production.
That is great production. 14 homers in 300 in the league. But I think you start to look at the lineup and say, okay, well, what's a given and what's up for grabs? Well, you heard him say there. Like, we want to get behind Paxton Kling and say, just go. So if Kling has a spot, if Jones has a spot, Tommy White has a spot. So what spots are open? That's kind of the big question as you go through these next 2+ weeks. And then honestly through the beginning of the season as well. I mean, you will learn more about your team when you start playing games. But one of the givens, of course, is Tommy White coming back. And here was Jay Johnson on his third baseman.
He's special, dude. The competitive nature is second to none. When he steps in the batter's box, it's something else. And obviously we saw that to the tune of whatever it was, 105 RBIs. And it wasn't just 105 RBIs. It was always when we needed it. You know what I mean? And the drive to be as good as he possibly can be, the intent behind that, and it served him well. I mean, surgery right after Omaha on his shoulder, missed the entire fall, but kept his body in a great spot, took exceptional step in leadership, during that time, and super proud of Tommy for that. And then, has rehabbed in a way where he's ready to go. You wouldn't know that he didn't take an at-bat for 6 months the way he looks right now.
Hit 374, 102 RBI. 24 homers. When you think about what the expectation was of Tommy White coming in after the freshman year he had at NC State where he hit 27 homers, and to come into that team on that lineup and to have an even better season is pretty incredible. It's what Jay Johnson was talking about. It wasn't just the numbers. It was how impactful they were. None bigger than, of course, a blast sending LSU to the College World Series finals against Florida. So with the home run coming against Wake, of course, but the finals against Florida. Hopefully there's many more of those in that bat this year for Tommy White. Tigers just a few weeks away from the opener against VMI. First pitch will be at 2:00 on that Friday. We've talked about it a bit. They're going to do a lot of Friday afternoon games at the start of the season and maybe the midweek, really as a way to avoid the cold temps at night and to make sure, especially like whenever there's a round robin type deal, like they're going to have the opening weekend with VMI coming in, to make sure that LSU plays first so they get their game in if there is inclement weather. All right, we'll talk plenty. It's just a little appetizer, of course, over the next several weeks as we inch closer to the start of baseball season. We'll talk plenty about it. Muse, remind people about Muso at the box.
Yeah, man, it's coming.
When are you starting?
It's going to start this week.
You said that on Friday.
Well, now it's this week. What are you talking about?
I want to know.
Well, hey, look, adding a video element and things, some of it's taking a little bit longer. As I was going through it today, working on it, I'm like, okay, well, I also have to add this. I have to add this. I have to add this. No, I'm not taking a shot at Paul.
Sounds like you're taking a shot at Paul.
Paul helped me out a lot today, actually. That's not what I was doing.
Paul's our OTT video manager, and you just said adding video elements. It's taking longer than I expected. It sounds like you're taking a shot at Paul.
It is, but not for anything that Paul's doing.
Paul, was he taking a shot? Is that what it sounded like? Kind of sounded?
That was a little bit of a shot.
Well, it wasn't it? That was a veiled shot is what that was.
Anyway, it's coming this week. Muso at the Box will be back this week. Believe me, nobody is ready to have this done and started recording more than me right now. I'm ready to go. So we're working on it. We're gonna get it there.
When you crack Paul, it's the best. So good.
Oh, Paulie.
So Muso at the Box. Go subscribe up. The RSS feed's still live. So wherever you get your podcasts, just search Muso at the Box and subscribe. So I don't know. Moose says he's going to start dropping episodes this week. Whatever. I've been saying that for a while now. This week. Well, this week has already started.
It was never going to be Monday, so that I made clear. But
I feel like you kind of have to have a day ready. Something.
We're going to get there. It's going to happen. And I'm ready for it to happen.
All right, and there will be a YouTube channel
Yes.
for those who want to watch. So whenever whenever Musso inspires Paulie enough to get the YouTube channel ready,
We were even talking about it today. Like it's gonna happen. We've got it.
sure. No, I believe you guys. You got it. Keep plugging away, fellas. I'm sure it'll happen. Omaha's only 6 months away, 5 months away. Okay, it's after further review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out a quick break. Musso there will have Tigers in the pros. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where to find them. Tell you every day, Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. It's Clegg's Nursery. Get on by. This is a great time. This is the time. If you're thinking of planting trees, fruit trees, shrubs, this is the time to get them in the ground. So get on by Clegg's Nursery. Seeds, they've got Johnny Naylor seeds. If you're a green thumb, you know if you want vegetable seeds, there's none better than Johnny Naylor seeds, and Clegg's Nursery has them. Walk in any Clegg's, just go walk in the main door, go straight to the back wall. You'll see them right there. It's any of the Clegg's Nursery locations, any of the 4 in the greater Baton Rouge area. They've been around for more than 60 years. And maybe it's not seeds or plants. Maybe it's any of the accessories that you need. Great tuned wind chimes, bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, great garden decor. They got it for you at Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you. Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, Windows, Doors, Siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're rolling along with us. Austin Thomas, that news. Well, it hasn't been official yet by LSU via release, but Wilson Alexander reported it. Everyone else got it. We got that news Friday while we were on air. I want to take some time and react to it fully and appropriately. So we'll get to that after SportsCenter here in about 11 minutes from right now. But right now, Muso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All righty. Championship weekend in the NFL. Start with Patrick Queen. 8 tackles yesterday in the ballgame for the Ravens. Hit on the quarterback as well. 7 of those tackles solo. Ends his season and might end his time with the Baltimore Ravens. You'll remember prior to the year, the Ravens declined the 5th-year option for Patrick Queen.
That lit a fire.
Yeah, it did. He had a great year. He was at the facility today cleaning out his locker, spoke to the media a little bit. He was asked about his future, said, look, he'd be happy with a new deal. For what it's worth, the Ravens could franchise tag him, of course, but ultimately he has to do what's best for his family, best for him, and the Ravens have to do what's best for them too, but he would definitely like to come back because it's where he started. So we'll keep you up to date on that as well. Just 3 touches for Clyde in the ballgame yesterday, but he is off to another Super Bowl, along with Neil Farrell Jr., who's a member of the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. He's Super Bowl bound as well. Odell Beckham. Yeah, how about that? Odell.
Well, LSU left that off the graphic.
Did they? They left Neil Farrell off?
I'll check again,
okay,
but I don't know that
I saw his tweet earlier where he was saying Super Bowl bound, and when I Googled him, he was with the Chiefs.
Yeah, no. Okay, no. Yeah, okay, he is on there.
Okay.
My apologies.
Perfect.
I thought I saw... Okay, my apologies. He is on there. Okay, I saw Ty Davis Price, Clyde.
With the Niners, yep.
I didn't see Neil, but he is. Yes, my apologies. Neil Farrell is on there. My bad.
And then Odell Beckham, 3 receptions for 22 yards. Ravens really started to find him late in the game, and it was a little too late there. Moving on to the NBA. Look at the NBA tonight. We have news with Ben Simmons. Cleared to play for the first time since November. Of course, he's been out since November 6th with the nerve impingement in his lower back. Head coach Jacques Vaughn said, quote, there is a high likelihood that Ben Simmons returns tonight against the Utah Jazz. So we'll keep you up to date there. And we'll wrap it up with the Chinese Basketball Association. Last night, or I guess yesterday afternoon, I don't know, with the time difference, Antonio Blakeney and Tremont Waters played against one another and both turned in very, very good days. We'll start with Tremont Waters, 15 points for him in 18 minutes, would add 6 assists in that ball game. And then you had Antonio Blakeney, who led the entire game in scoring with 35 more points in 32 minutes, and he added 5 rebounds and 3 assists. It was Tremont Waters' team, though, with the big win, 138-112. That's Tigers in the pros.
We're presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You ever had the experience where you walk into a jewelry store and there's like the disheveled guy that pulls out a calculator from behind the counter just to explain to you what a great deal you're getting? That doesn't feel special. That doesn't feel like you're making a really important purchase. You know, there's something to be said for walking into a jewelry store and it's packed. When you walk, it's like, do you ever want to walk into an empty restaurant? That's usually not a great sign. At Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, you walk in, they'll offer you a beverage, chocolates on a tray. Every diamond in the case has been hand inspected by a member of the family. They'll never, ever sell you a man-made diamond. Every diamond comes from the most exquisite diamond mines in the world. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They don't have what you want, they can get it. They have 10 stores across 3 states. Or they can custom make any piece of jewelry you want. They want her to be thrilled. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Or get by any of their locations, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, or for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. I don't know if this necessarily counts as Tigers in the pros, but Joe Brady got himself a permanent job. They've dropped the interim off the business card. Joe Brady has been named the Bills' permanent offensive coordinator. That shouldn't come as a great surprise, right? So Brady was there in Buffalo as the quarterback's coach. When Ken Dorsey got fired, he was promoted to interim offensive coordinator. And that's when Buffalo really started to flourish. They had a 6-game winning streak to end the regular season. They were 7-2 during the stretch, including the playoffs, when Brady took over as the offensive coordinator. And they ended up having the second highest rush percentage in the NFL during that stretch. They ran the ball in 46.5% of their offensive snaps. So Joe Brady really got back to basics with Josh Allen. And Allen publicly endorsed Brady for the job. So congrats to Joe Brady, 34 years old, getting his second stint as a full-time offensive coordinator in the NFL. Of course, Panthers, was fired, went to Buffalo as quarterback's coach. Now OC there in Buffalo with Josh Allen as the Bills continue to try to scale that mountain that they just haven't quite been able to figure out with the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, it's After Further Review. Sports Center's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Don't you move. Hour 3 coming up next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Hey, get to the website. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products you use to weigh and measure. They can calibrate all of your devices. Let's say you need calibration for a device that you don't want to leave your facility or can't physically leave your facility. Michelli can come to you. They have mobile calibration labs. They can come on site. If you want to ship your equipment to Michelli, it's easy. Go to the website, hit calibration. You'll see the tab right there. Ship your equipment to us. All the information you need. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Go to Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com if you want to learn more. And one of the things that's most important, though, is their commitment to local and to face-to-face customer service. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Check them out online for a list of their services. Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
Christine Lisi. The Chiefs' defense has taken a hit for Super Bowl LVIII. Defensive end Charles Omenihu, one of the team's best pass rushers all season, tore an ACL in the AFC Championship game and will not play against the 49ers. In 11 regular season games, his first with the Chiefs that season, that is, Omenihu had a career-high 7 sacks. NBA, there's optimism. Knicks forward Julius Randle will be out weeks, not months, with a dislocated shoulder. Even so, New York might want to make a call to Toronto ahead of the trade deadline, suggests ESPN NBA reporter Brian Windhorst.
Bruce Brown Jr. plays multiple positions. He's got championship DNA, championship experience, plays hard-nosed defense. He's a Tibbs type of player. The Knicks have 8 tradable first-round picks and an expiring contract in Evan Fournier, who they could maybe negotiate with there. I wouldn't say they have to make a deal, but I would absolutely think that they would investigate the market.
76ers star Joel Embiid left knee soreness will miss a second straight game tonight against the Trailblazers. Cavaliers power forward Evan Mobley returns from knee surgery against the Clippers tonight. He hasn't played since December 6th.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona. And here we go. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Super Bowl LVIII is set. Get into some of those particulars in about 15 minutes from right now. And it was a busy NFL weekend as a lot of jobs continue to be filled, as staffs continue to be set, as more teams have had their season come to an end. We'll learn who's available, who's interviewing for what, who might go where. So that's going to be an interesting part. The biggest storyline for the Saints that we're following is who's going to be the offensive coordinator. And we continue to scratch names off the list that the Saints have interviewed or have expressed interest in interviewing. Over the weekend, we learned Zach Robinson is headed with Raheem Morris to the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, Morris was the former head coach of the Bucs, former interim head coach with the Falcons, who most recently had been the defensive coordinator with the Rams. Well, the Falcons made him their new head coach, and he's bringing with him Zach Robinson from the Rams as his offensive coordinator in Atlanta. Well, Zach Robinson was one of the guys that the Saints had interviewed for the job, and so the question persists, how appealing is the Saints' offensive coordinator job? Yes, it is an offensive coordinator job in the NFL. There's only 32 of them. There are coaches that would kill for that opportunity. But there's also coaches that are in demand that will have options that may not choose the Saints. And Robinson's an example of that. Dan Pitcher staying in Cincinnati is an example of that. Shane Waldron, who had been with the Seahawks, who took the OC job with the Bears, is an example of that. So you kind of look at who's left, who remains, and what direction the Saints might go. One other quick note here. Adam Schefter is reporting that Jim Harbaugh is working to hire Ravens Director of Player Personnel Joe Horitz as their new general manager. That's significant here because, as our friend Sean Fazan points out, Jeff Ireland interviewed for the Chargers GM job. So clearly that's going to someone else. So Ireland, you would presume, barring some other opportunity popping up, will be back in New Orleans. And maybe the biggest feather in Jeff Ireland's cap during his time in New Orleans has been the draft. I mean, the Saints drafts had gotten lean and decorated mostly by egregious misses in the draft. Haoli Kikaha, anybody? Stanley Jean-Baptiste? I mean, you know the names. And Jeff Ireland came in and they immediately popped that 2017 draft, which was a landmark draft in the history of the organization. So draft season rolling around again. It looks like Jeff Ireland will still be on board with the Saints. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. While we were on the air Friday, the news broke that Austin Thomas is returning to LSU. I think Wilson Alexander over at The Advocate had it first. It's something I know we had mentioned for weeks here, and it was an odd story because I several weeks ago had heard the Austin Thomas smoke, and we talked about it here a little bit, and then it went eerily quiet for about 2 weeks. And then I believe it was Wednesday of last week. It was Wednesday morning of last week, and I got a call from someone at Ole Miss who asked me if I had heard anything about Austin Thomas. I'm like, well, shouldn't you be telling me? So I made a call, and sure enough, Austin Thomas was on LSU's campus last Wednesday for, I guess, a formal interview. And then we found out on Friday that from Wilson's report that they had finished the deal and that Austin was coming back to LSU. So this is Austin Thomas's third stint in Baton Rouge. If you remember, he first came to LSU. Austin's from Tennessee. He first came to LSU in 2013 under Les Miles. He remained at LSU through 2017. So when Ed Ogeron got the job as the interim, then the full-time job, he made Austin Thomas general manager. If I'm not mistaken, he was the first in the SEC to have that title, general manager. He was named by Football Scoop as their player personnel director of the year. One of those seasons, he played a large part in helping LSU recruit and build what would become a national championship roster. And then Austin left Baton Rouge for Tennessee, and they had a coaching change at Tennessee, so the job he left for ended up not being there. And so he kind of had to pivot and redirect. He lands at Texas A&M with Scott Woodward. And so Austin was there as an associate athletics director for football in 2018 and 2019 before Dave Aranda hired him at Baylor. And then Ed Ogeron hired him back. And then when Brian Kelly was hired, he let go most of the coaching staff, support staff, and Austin was part of that. And so then Austin went to Ole Miss, where he's been for the last 2 seasons. And now Austin Thomas is back at LSU for the third time. There's a couple of things here that strike me. Number one is this does illustrate how badly Austin Thomas wants to be at LSU. This is the third time now he's worked at LSU. And I'm not so sure. I can understand, look, Austin's a young guy. I mean, a young guy. We're about the same age. But he's got 3 young children. And at the first time that he left and was going to Tennessee, remember, he and his wife are from Tennessee. There might have been some, hey, let's be closer to family, closer to home, some other forces that anybody listening, whether you've been in football or not, like, you understand as a parent. Like, there is that appeal, right? Let's go be closer to family. Got all these kids. Let's get some help. Free babysitting. You get anyway. And so I think the path that he followed after that, which led him back to Baton Rouge, and Austin didn't want, when he had the opportunity to come back under Ed Ogeron, did. Ogeron was fired. Kelly came in. Austin didn't want to leave. I mean, Austin was at Brian Kelly's introductory press conference. He was at that bowl game against Kansas State. Like, he was very much engaged, but Brian Kelly, many of you may know this name, maybe you don't, but Brian has had working with him for many years Beth Rex, who is really his right hand, who he trusts immensely. And I think maybe there was a thought that there could be some crossing of responsibilities. And really, when Brian Kelly came in, y'all, I've used this phrase, but he threw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, I remember so vividly Brian gave an interview to Ross Dellinger, and one of the things he spoke about in that interview was was that the culture at LSU, the organization at LSU was as bad as he had ever seen in 3 decades as a coach. And so when you come in and you see that, I can understand how your first inclination would be, get rid of everything. We got to start over. So it wasn't just coaches. There were some 40 jobs that turned over when Brian Kelly came in. I mean, from coaches and analysts to support staff people. Like, I mean, look, Sharon Lewis was one of those. Now, I mean, that there's a lawsuit there, but I mean, it wasn't a wrongful termination thing. I mean, they let go 40, 50 people in football operations. So, yeah, I mean, there was some of Austin Thomas, Corey Raymond, Blake Baker, guys that had a great role and were successful and played a lot of a giant part in the success you had that were dismissed as Brian Kelly was bringing in new people and new culture and trying to cultivate all of that. So, but I guess all of that to say, the opportunity you had to get Austin Thomas back, they have, because you saw him go to Ole Miss and look at what Ole Miss has done the last 2 years. And it's not necessarily to say that it's all a credit to Austin, but what Austin does exceptionally well, and the reason that Scott Woodward, again, connect that dot back to Scott Woodward at Texas A&M and understand why that's so important. What he's done everywhere he's been is help build rosters. I mean, that's what great general managers do. Now, I understand we think of that in the context of the NFL and managing a salary cap and depth and all that sort of stuff. But it's so different. Like, the objective isn't any different at the college level. The how is different because you have 85 scholarship players. You have walk-ons now. You have NIL, which if Austin managed, maybe not the fundraising, but the allocation of NIL dollars at Ole Miss, which clearly that has gone pretty well for them. You know, I think he's exceptional at the thing he does, which is building rosters and recruiting. Now, Austin can't go off campus, but I do remember back when Ed was the coach and they had coaching turnover in the offseason, they petitioned to have Austin be able to go recruit off campus, and he did. He went in-home whenever they had vacancies on their coaching staff. So you're talking about a guy that's an elite, high-level recruiter, organizer, talent evaluator. Yes, I mean, Scott Woodward made him the associate athletic director for football at Texas A&M in 2018 and 2019. So I think you can clearly look at Scott Woodward's influence here as someone who has seen Austin work, respects him tremendously, and wanted him here. At the same time, whenever Brian Kelly got the job, you give coach, especially what LSU invested in Brian Kelly, you give him the autonomy to build a staff as he wants. That's why there was turnover that maybe didn't need to happen, but you kind of had to walk this path to find it. I mean, the other component of this, aside from very clearly there's a resume that Austin has, both at LSU and other places, that's exceptional. I mean, success has followed him. When he was at Baylor with Dave Aranda, they won the Big 12 in his second year, and Dave's second year there. I mean, you go back to Texas A&M. He helped build the roster that Jimbo won 9 games with during the COVID year when they went 9-1, won the Orange Bowl. Austin was part of building that. He was part of building the roster, which would become LSU's 2019 championship roster. So, yeah, look at Ole Miss right now. I mean, it's not a coincidence that success and strong rosters follow this guy. He's good at what he does. The other part of it, and there's 2 other things. One is NIL. And I know this surprises some people, and I've said it before, but LSU and Ole Miss, their total dollar amount raised as of right now isn't dramatically different. I mean, I've explained it to you. There's like the top dozen or so schools in America with NIL that are outpacing everybody. Then there's a group of about 30 all clumped together that are all very comparable. And then there's the total have-nots. Well, LSU and Ole Miss are both in that clump of about 30 that are very comparable. It's really just NIL allocation. How and where are you spending? And are you hitting? And maybe that's part of what Austin's role is. Not maybe, it is going to be part of Austin's role here is, here's the money we have for NIL through our collective. How do we most appropriately spend this and maximize the money? If we're not going to have $14 million a year on our roster like Texas. How do we maximize $4, $6, $8 million if they get to the marks that Gordon told us last week they're trying to hit? I mean, I'm told, like, there's a huge event this weekend. Saturday at LSU, the Collective is having a black tie event at the LSU indoor facility. I mean, coaches will be there. There's going to be a big NIL presentation from the Collective, and they're trying to engage a lot of donors. I mean, it's a massive opportunity. But the other thing, and my single biggest like overarching takeaway from this offseason for LSU is Brian Kelly is adapting. That is my one single biggest observation from this offseason for LSU is Brian Kelly is adapting. He understands that to win a national championship at LSU, you have to fully embrace and take advantage of the advantages LSU offers. That means recruit your state. Take advantage of the inherent resources you have here. That's why you go to Frank Wilson and Verge Osbury and Scott Woodward and say, okay, how do I build this staff? Corey Raymond coming back. Bring Bo Davis home. Get Austin Thomas back in the building. And look at what you're going to be able to do and build. And Brian Kelly has said, okay, do it. He's leaning on the people that know this state, this program best to build the roster and the program while in the confines of the culture that he has worked very hard over 2 years to erect. Right? There is a cultural structure that Brian Kelly has implemented. And now take all that talent and put it within the structure that Brian Kelly has built, and you have something not only special, but sustainable. And that is my biggest takeaway. I don't know that it's going to happen in 2024. Like, I don't know that LSU's winning a championship in 2024. I think your offense is going to be awesome. You have a veteran quarterback who's going to get his shot. You're going to be better on defense because you can't be worse. But how much better? And then there's a 12-team playoff, and where do you fit in? And there's all those things that I don't know. But you could very clearly look at what you're bringing in 24, the class you have committed for 25, the in-state talent in 26, amid the structure that Brian Kelly has built, and now trying to make sure they refine all of that with the staff he's brought in, both on-field and support staff, and you can see the seeds of what is being built. And it's very exciting. But it started with Brian Kelly saying, hey, Brian Polian, see ya. Steeples, Cooks, House, see ya, see ya, see ya. Let me get the guys in that can help me win here. And as a result, he's going to. All right. It's after further review. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back, talk a little bit more about Super Bowl 58, which is set. And we are heading to Atlanta in less than 15 minutes from right now. Our buddy Orlando Ledbetter from the AJC is going to jump aboard with us. Raheem Morris, new head coach. Zach Robinson, new offensive coordinator. How's it looking there in Atlanta? Who's going to play quarterback? We get a check in on the Dirty Birds in about 15 minutes. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, where you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Who even knows with the weather? We went from a freeze to 70-degree temps to last night, it's back in the 30s. Whatever. Whether you need help with your AC or your heater, you need River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. They're impossible to miss. I mean, they're giant. They're rolling bananas, y'all. They're big yellow vans and trucks. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air. Mention the Moscona special, and they'll always knock $25 off any system repair. That's at River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, Windows, Doors, Siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, we're heading to Atlanta in about 10 minutes from right now. Will Taylor Swift be at the Super Bowl? It's the biggest question that everyone wants to know. I think she's going to be able to make it, actually.
Of course she is. She's not going to miss that.
Well, she's playing in Tokyo the night before. I feel I want some Taylor Swift music. I feel
what
like
you got?
I hit me with anything. What you got? You got Cool Summer? You got Bad Blood?
No.
You got Shake It Off?
Oh.
You got Mean? What you
Matt,
got over there?
I have Shake It Off Taylor's version.
You got Taylor. Well, do you know you know what's up with Taylor's version?
No, I.
Oh,
actually
really?
have
You don't
no
know?
idea.
She's
I mean, she writes all of her songs. Aren't they all her version? I don't really understand.
So she obviously signed a record deal when she was young.
Makes sense.
And it was a 6-album deal, something like that.
Okay.
When that expired, she tried to take ownership of her music. Well, someone else bought her catalog and wouldn't sell it back to her, wanted like a ridiculous deal. So she said, bleep you. She went and re-recorded 2 of her albums. So now she owns that. Basically saying, my fans are going to go buy my version instead of yours, thus rendering yours worthless.
That's smart. I mean, it's a genius move.
She's brilliant. She's a billionaire. I mean, you can tell it's a little different than the radio edit you heard 10 years ago.
This song's 10 years old?
Well, Shake It Off is.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. I did not know it was that old. That's crazy, actually.
Fun fact, maybe not to everybody, but in all seriousness, my wife is a Swiftie. Absurd. Did I tell you I showed you the picture.
Oh, her with the filter?
The filter was one, but for the divisional round game, she went over to her friend's house.
Oh yeah, you did show me that.
And she brought a tray, and it was strawberries outlined. So she put like yogurt, and then had strawberries outlining the circular tray, and then the grapes she made into an 87. Like she's all in. Ridiculous. But anyway, Taylor Swift dates back to like the infancy of our family. So when Drew was a baby and he would, was being poked and prodded and all that sort of stuff, when he would have physical therapy, things like the only thing that would like calm him down and get his attention, we would play this music video. Like I seriously have pictures of he's like in CV appointments or doing echocardiograms on him. I'm holding up a phone with Shake It Off video on it. It's the only thing that would get him just to watch. We joke that Taylor, like this is 10 years ago before she was still,
She's still Taylor Swift, but not Taylor Swift.
That was his first girlfriend. We've always joked about that. Okay, so here's what's going to happen.
Yes.
So Taylor Swift is performing in Tokyo the Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo is 17 hours ahead of Vegas.
Oh.
Obviously, the Far East.
Yes.
So if her show ends 10 p.m. Tokyo time, right?
Yeah.
That's 5 a.m. on Saturday in Las Vegas. The flight is about 12 hours.
Oof.
So she can finish her show in Tokyo roughly 5 a.m. Saturday Vegas time, get on her PJ, fly to Vegas. She'd be in Vegas Saturday night. She'd basically do Saturday twice. Once in Tokyo and then once all in the air.
She'd be really tired, but she can pull this off.
100%.
I mean...
So she'll land in Vegas Saturday night. Game's at 3:30 local time in Vegas. So she'll go to the game on Sunday. Then she plays in Australia on Friday. So she'll go from Tokyo to Vegas Saturday night, hang, watch the Super Bowl Sunday. Then Friday, she does a show.
She's got a whole week to recover.
Not a whole week.
Well,
she's got 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days.
4 days to fly. I mean,
business week.
This is 100% happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't miss.
Of course,
your boyfriend's playing in the Super Bowl. You can't miss that.
She's going to be there. I mean, the only way would be if she was doing a concert that day.
Yes.
And then no, your obligation is to the people who
100%.
bought tickets and you're doing the show. So, you know what? I don't get the hate. I don't I think she's a good artist. I like her music. I don't really give a good gosh darn about she and Travis Kelce. I wish them well. They both seem
happy, man.
They both seem like nice people. Very happy. Good for you. Really, it is very appropriate that you're playing Shake It Off because all of the hate for her, I just don't get it. Like, she's not attention seeking. Like, she's not asking to be put on television. She's using private entrances to these stadiums. You can take the music out. She's using private entrances to the stadium. People who see her are videoing her and posting it on social media because, of course, you do. She goes to the suite and, like, you want the attention seeker? It's Jason Kelce hanging shirtless out of a suite, jumping into the crowd. Like, that's attention-seeking behavior. She's in the back of the suite, right? Like, not drawing attention to herself. And then, like, if she were, when they won the AFC yesterday, if she were on the stage with Travis Kelce, that's attention-seeking behavior. She's on the field amid a horde of other family members. Like, what is the problem with? I don't understand why people have a problem with her. I really don't get it. So, a handful of times over the course of a 3.5-hour game, they do a cutaway to her after Travis Kelce makes a play. How's that any different than showing Giselle all those years? Or Sierra when Russell Wilson makes a play? I got Christian McCaffrey and his girlfriend chest bumping on the field. You can tell me that's not attention-seeking behavior? Like, live life, have fun.
Maybe it's just something
the problem? I don't understand. I just don't understand all of the hate. I don't get it. Anyway, good for them. I hope they get married and are very happy, or don't get married. I hope they're very happy, and I hope she gets to make it to the Super Bowl. That's awesome. I mean, how many more times might he go? I mean, it's Chiefs.
Well,
it's Chiefs.
He's not getting any younger though. I mean,
there was talk about that. Wasn't there a report last week about him retiring?
I don't know. I didn't see that. I know there's been some rumors about Andy Reid possibly hanging it up after this season.
There was a report when it looked like Jason was going to retire. That Travis was going to retire. It was Michelle Tafoya. That's who it was.
Huh?
Michelle Tafoya. It was Michelle Tafoya last week on CBS Sports Radio said she expects Travis Kelce to retire this offseason, citing different priorities at this stage of his life. I mean, she said it on CBS Sports Radio. I mean, Michelle Tafoya she was the sideline reporter for Sunday Night Football forever. I mean, she's right. I mean, that's a reputable person.
I'd say.
So anyway, okay. It's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Anyway, Tay, I hope you make it. Fly safe, do good on your tour and all that stuff, and don't let the haters hate, and all that stuff. Players, Playboy, whatever. Shake it off. All right, we're heading to Atlanta next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet. Dine and carry out or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Ice cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. I got a text earlier today. I think I missed it initially. My apologies. To Cole, who said, Matt, I'll be making my first trip to Pluckers on Monday while in Houston on business. What are some must-have items in wing sauces? I totally missed that. But Cole's from Broussard. I don't know why he hadn't been to Pluckers here. It's way closer than the Pluckers in Houston. But anyway, I go for a Gold Rush and Spicy Ranch. If I'm going to do 15 wings, I'll throw in Garlic Parm as my number 3. But find your favorite of the 28 wing sauces. You can even create your own item. They encourage you to be creative with the menu. It's at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Tonight and every Monday, all you can eat wings. One low price, eat as many wings as you want. That's tonight and every Monday at Pluckers. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Pluckers, if you like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. So keeping a close eye on the Falcons as they have a new head coach. Let's head over there to Atlanta, talk to our buddy Orlando Ledbetter of the AJC. He's on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC. Y'all give him a follow. Orlando, it's great to visit again, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's always our pleasure, man. Okay, what's been the reaction there about the Raheem Morris hire?
Been on both sides of the aisle. A lot of people are excited to see him come back, get a second head coaching opportunity. Know that he's a Super Bowl winner 2 times, and hoping that he can get the franchise turned around. And then the others are like, hey, this guy had a losing record, 17-31. He did have a 10-6 season, and then he was 4-7 as an interim guy with a team he had to take over after Dan Quinn got fired. So, kind of all over the place like that.
How close were they to hiring Bill Belichick?
Very close. He was their number 1 target. They interviewed him twice. Interviewed him, in person, and then again, he was the first person to get a second interview. So they were ready to go with him, but his vision for the franchise didn't square with the owner's vision for the franchise. Bill wanted to come in and have all the authority that he had in New England, and the Falcons are a shared authority team, and he didn't want any parts of that.
Maybe the biggest question for Raheem Morris and Arthur Blank and for that whole organization is, like, who's going to play quarterback? I'm assuming it's not going to be Desmond Ridder. Does he still have a shot, Desmond Ridder, at this job, or is it going to be a completely different direction?
Everybody's suspecting a completely different direction. They're going to definitely it's going to be based on how Raheem wants to play. He signed Zach Robinson as OC. That's the air raid quarterback coming from the Rams. So that's John McVay's version of the West Coast offense. So Ritter's not that guy. So, yeah, you got to figure that they're moving on to a more traditional quarterback.
And look, the Saints interviewed Zach Robinson, and that was a guy a lot of people here were potentially excited about. He'll be in the NFC South, just not New Orleans. Well, what direction do they go? Like, is there a feeling that Justin Fields could be the guy, or is it more likely they go find a quarterback in the draft?
Yeah, Justin Fields doesn't fit anymore. He doesn't fit the Rams offense. So, I got to think that that's not a possibility. Kirk Cousins would fit, that'd be sure. The draft, it's always a crapshoot. There's not going to be anybody there at 8, that you want to take at the quarterback position unless you like a Bo Nix or a J.J. McCarthy type of player. Or maybe Penix is there at 8. But, if you got to trade up, if you want to get one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels, your guy down in LSU.
Is there any history of Atlanta being willing to do that, to move up to take a quarterback?
Oh, yeah. You heard about a guy named Michael Vick?
Did they trade up for Vick?
Yes, they did. They traded up from the 8th spot to number 1 with the Chargers.
Okay.
Chargers now, they ended up taking Drew Brees, and Michael Vick came to the Falcons. But Brees was later go on to get, signed with the Saints and so forth and turn into a pretty good little quarterback.
I mean, that's been in Orlando Ledbetter's, I guess, in the AJC talking Falcons. That's been almost a quarter century. Is there a feeling Arthur Blank might do the same thing, or do they stand pat at 8? What's most likely? Do they take a quarterback at 8 or later in the draft? Do they trade up, or do they find a quarterback in free agency?
I'm thinking you trade up here. And then not only Michael Vick, they traded up with Cleveland to get to 6 to get Julio Jones. So they've shown the propensity under Blank to trade up. So, yeah, the best move is going to be to trade up. You want to eliminate your, chances. And, if you think Jaden Daniels is the guy that can run your offense, you go on and get him. If you think it's Drake May, you got to get up to 3. But the problem is that Chicago, Washington, and New England are 1, 2, 3. and all those teams need quarterbacks. So, it's going to be hard to pry one of those picks away.
Couple more for you. When you look at the top of the division right now, Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa are all relatively close. I mean, Carolina's obviously in a different ballpark. But there's a feeling here that even though the Saints statistically are close, they don't really feel like they're a contender. What is the feeling there in Atlanta, Orlando? Do they feel like they are close to being a contending team?
They say they are. I don't see where they can have that conclusion based on the 3-7-10 records. You haven't been able to beat anybody good. You haven't even been over 500 for much of the season. You haven't been able to string together 3 wins. Haven't been able to put up 30 points at all last year. So, they played better on defense, but you gotta be able to put up some points on the offensive side of the ball. There's 2 leagues. They're in the bottom half of the league, and they're able to beat some teams in the bottom half. But, as far as playoff teams and contenders, then none of these teams are up there, even though Tampa Bay had a game showing against Detroit. But, they didn't play like that all year. They had to win 6 in a row to get to the playoffs.
What a weird cycle it's been for the NFC South. And I'm sure it'll continue in this offseason. He is Orlando Ledbetter on Twitter at @DOrlandoAJC, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, covering the Falcons. It's always a pleasure when we get a couple of minutes. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Sure, no problem. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
It's our pleasure. Be well. The NFL, it's so interesting how cyclical this can be. I'll give you a thought on that here in a sec. Let me remind you about Shaw Bills before I forget. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Need your oil changed? Shaw Bills. Need your tires rotated? Shaw Bills. Check engine light on? Shaw Bills. Need air in your tires? Shaw Bills will do that. Need a tire repair? They'll do that, and they'll do it for free, too, because it's just the right thing to do. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. If you want to buy name brand tires at wholesale prices, that's Shaw Bills. But the most important part, they treat you like family. You walk into Shaw Bills. It's free Wi-Fi. It's comfortable furniture. It's flat screen TVs. It's clean bathrooms. You don't feel like you're walking into, a place where you'd expect to have like greasy oil rags on the floor. It's clean. A lot of times when I go drop our vehicles off at Shaw Bills for service, I do it with the intention of waiting on the service because I know I'm going to get work done when I do work there at Shaw Bills. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. So it was interesting to hear Orlando say, they while the Falcons may feel like they're close, after 3 straight 7-10 records, the division's so bad it doesn't really point to that. Kind of the feeling that a lot of us have about the Saints, even though mathematically you're close, you're really not. But everything's cyclical. It wasn't that long ago that the NFC South was arguably the best division in the NFC. I mean, Cam Newton and Matt Ryan won MVPs in a division where you also had Drew Brees and Jameis Winston was the number 1 pick. Right? That wasn't that too distant of a memory when Carolina and Atlanta both went to Super Bowls and then the Saints won the division 4 straight years. I mean, it ain't that long ago. And now they're the worst division in football. You could go back to a time where the NFC West was the worst division in football, where a 7-9 Seattle team won that division, and the Saints had to go play in 2010 as the defending champ in Seattle against a 7-9 Seattle team. That was an atrocious division. Look at them now. The Rams won the Super Bowl in 21. The Niners are going back to the Super Bowl again. Seattle has fallen off from their Super Bowl teams, but Pete Carroll has been consistent there. Arizona's been bringing up the rear, but they've managed to win games here and there. The point is, it's cyclical. Like the NFC South isn't going to remain the worst division in football for long. They're going to figure it out and get better. But right now, it's tough to know for any of these teams if what you're seeing is real or if it's a mirage because you're playing in this awful division. I mean, Tampa won a playoff game. They won the division, won a playoff game. And you salute them for it. But, like, do they really think Baker Mayfield's going to be the guy that gets them back to a Super Bowl? It's the weird thing for all. It's a weird thing for the Saints with Derek Carr, for Tampa with Baker. I mean, Carolina's in a completely different situation right now because they've drafted their franchise quarterback. Now they got to figure out how to maximize it. And then, Atlanta, if they do the same thing this year, then they'll be in that same boat. It's not going to last forever, but it's hard to see the end in sight for any of these teams right now. All right. It's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. We'll do Otter Locks. Jimmy will be here to tell us who we're betting on. Good day on Jimmy Ott's Football Sunday. The one thing that didn't hit was they had a money line parlay on the two home teams. That did not hit, but a Chiefs-Niners teaser hit. Had Christian McCaffrey over on his receiving total. That hit. Had a total. Can I get dings, please? We had, that's 2 dings. We had the give me another one. We had the over on Lions-Niners, which hit. So it was a pretty good day, all things considered. Wasn't a lot of agreement on a side for either game, but they found creative ways to get winning bets, and ended up being a 3-1 day there. So we'll see what Jimmy's got for us tonight. Stick around. We'll do Otter Locks next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. And remember, King Cakes, y'all. King Cakes, King Cakes, King Cakes. You can go to Rouse's.com. You'll see right there on the scroll, you'll see now shipping King Cakes. They can ship your King Cake anywhere in the country or the world, so go to Rouse's.com. Maybe you got a family member, a friend, a loved one who's in a different part of the country right now, and you want to give them a taste of carnival season. Rouse's can help. Go to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. You'll see right there on the flipper, on the scroll on the homepage, where you can order your King Cake to have it shipped anywhere in the country or the world from Rouse's. Guys, Valentine's Day is around the bend. You need flowers. Rouse's can help you out with their floral department. Maybe you got a game watch party or some other event coming up. Remember, you can always buy great wine at Rouse's. The Buy 4, Save More program. The more you buy, the more you save. Allows you to try a lot of real interesting reds and whites. It's at Rouse's. This feels like home.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding. Oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and of an incomprehensible, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing better. I'm kind of in a grocery store, and I got one of those carts that pulls to the left all the time. Kind of holding the cart with one hand, the phone with the other. And,
that's when you just stop. You just stop in your tracks. You do this hit, and when we're done, then you continue shopping.
Oh man, I got one for you though. Boy, you talk about a thin card tonight. I mean, basically two Power 5, and I include the Big East, make it Power 6 in college basketball with the ESPN doubleheader. But what I'm going to go to is Houston and Texas. And,
okay.
Texas split on the road. They beat Oklahoma, and then they got blown out against BYU on Saturday. So, hey, more than respectable. And they've been pretty good this year after concerns early. But Matt Haney asked me this today. He said, who's the best team in college basketball? I think it's the Houston Cougars. It's one of my favorite stat lines. They were doing the halftime box score on a Houston broadcast Saturday. And they said at half, they're shooting 40% from the field, 28% from three, 50% from the free throw line, and are leading by 20 at half. They bang you to death on the board. They create more steals, and I just think a little horn down extra tonight in Austin, Texas. So I'm going to go with Houston minus the 5 tonight in that one. Keep in mind, if it's on the half, what do we say?
By the half a point.
I know I gave you a Musso, a couple that fell right there. There were 6 of them that fell on that half a number. Between 1.5 and 6.5, whether you're buying, meaning you're laying or taking.
Oh, Saturday would have been carnage, but for buying the half point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great example of why you buy the half point. By the way, Otter, I'm looking at DraftKings right now on that Houston-Texas game. DraftKings has a 50% boost tonight on that game, and it is at 5. So you don't even have to buy the half point, and you can use the 50% boost. So I'm looking at it here with the boost. You go to Houston minus 5, goes to plus 138.
There you go. Always take the boost.
Always take the boost. By the way, there is also a 50% boost on any NBA bet today as well. So if you got anybody in the association you like, you can throw it our way as well. How about the Knicks on the money line minus 410? You use that boost. It brings that a little more respectable.
The Knicks are winning every time by like 15 to 20.
How about the Celtics at home against the Pels? That's minus 310 on the money line.
I'm giving out one pick tonight.
Pels. The Grizz at home. The Grizz. No, that's the Kings minus 500 on the road. Not interested in that. All right.
Yeah.
I can't coerce him into anything. I respect it, though. I respect it.
Well, the thing is, look, to pay for itself, one has to fall on the half point or fall on that number 1 out of 22 times to pay for itself. I mean, 6 of them on Saturday. And that's just the Power 6 teams in college basketball in lines from 1.5 to 6.5.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So it does
1 minute remaining.
All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We are at Dozy Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
Very good. We appreciate it as always. Have a great night.
Where's the cabbage?
Get out of here. All right, it's after further review. Always tell you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. That's me. That's Richard Tilley. That's Ryan Terrio. It's the people that I tell you about all the time, every day. Joe Morales, Scott Barnes. If you have issues with your roof, we'd love to help you out. Get to the website, HudcoRoofing.com, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Muse, you got any feeling on this NBA card? How do we feel about the Pels tonight against the Celtics?
Not good. Really bad, actually.
Not a bad idea, then. Just take the boost with the Celtics at minus 310 on the money line. I mean, Pels just can't beat good teams. They can blow out anybody else. Play a good team, they ain't going to work out super well. All right, Muse, Paulie, I appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Okay, y'all, parents, remember the Traction Mardi Gras camps are coming up. You're less than a month away, just a couple of weeks away, as a matter of fact, from Mardi Gras. So if your son or daughter is going to be out of school and you need something for them to do during Mardi Gras, Traction's got you covered. They got the Mardi Gras baseball camp and the Mardi Gras speed camp. So the baseball camp, here's the deets. It's Wednesday to Friday of Mardi Gras week, the 14th, 15th, 16th. You got full day and half day options. Full day 9 to 4, half day 9 to noon. Fundamentals of baseball, position instruction. They'll play team games. It's ages 5 to 12. So if your son wants to go to Traction Mardi Gras baseball camp, Wednesday through Friday Mardi Gras week, go register at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Also, the Traction Speed Camp, same deal, Wednesday to Friday from 9 to noon on Mardi Gras week, ages 8 and up. Go to TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.